diving into 3D printing today.
Sounds good.
Specifically, we're looking at two Creality models
Yep.
people ask about all the time.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Which ones?
The Ender 3 V3 SE and the Ender 3 V3 KE.
Ah, yeah, those are popular for sure.
Yeah, and they can seem pretty similar at first glance, right? So we're going to use this great comparison from Creality experts to try to help sort it all out.
Okay, so like what are they looking at in this comparison?
Well, they cover pretty much everything, like all the specs and features and even what kind of user each printer might be best for.
And just for our listeners, Creality Experts is like a whole website dedicated to all things Creality, right?
Exactly. They've got reviews, tutorials, you name it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Full disclosure, though, they do use affiliate links.
Ah, so they get a little something if we click and buy.
Got it.
Ah.
Yeah. But we're really here for the information they're giving us to compare these printers, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
Okay, so to start off, both of these printers are kind of in that sweet spot for size if you don't want something huge.
Oh, you mean like the actual footprint of the printer.
Yeah, and the build volume, too.
So what are we talking like dimension-wise?
Well, the SE has a build volume of about 220 by 220 by 250 millimeters.
Okay.
The KE is pretty close, just a tiny bit shorter.
So that's a good size for like most projects without needing a ton of space, right?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the big things these two share is the Sprite direct drive extruder.
Now that sounds fancy, but break it down for us. What's so special about direct drive?
Well, with direct drive, the extruder is right above the nozzle.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that gives you a lot more control and precision, especially with flexible filament.
Makes sense.
Like TPU, for example.
Gotcha. Yeah, that stuff can be a pain to print with sometimes.
And it's a huge step up from the older Bowden extruders that Creality used to use.
Yeah, I remember those. Always jamming and tangling.
Exactly. So direct drive is definitely a win for both the SE and the KE.
For sure. Okay, what else is similar?
Well, both of these printers have automatic bed leveling, thanks to the CR touch sensor.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that feature.
Yeah, it makes calibrating your bed so much easier.
No more fiddling with that paper, trying to get it just right.
Exactly. And they even automatically set the Z offset for you.
Ooh, that's nice. That takes out a lot of the guesswork, right?
It really does.
So both of these printers are sounding pretty user-friendly so far.
They really are, which makes them a great choice for beginners or anyone who wants a more streamlined printing experience.
Okay, so we've got a good foundation of similarities here, but I'm guessing the differences are where things get really interesting, right?
Absolutely. That's where we're going to start seeing those deal breakers and those must-haves for different types of users.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive into those differences.
All right, first up, let's talk about controls and firmware.
Oh, okay, so like the brains of the operation.
Exactly. And this is where the KE really starts to stand out with its Creality OS, which is based on Klipper firmware.
Klipper firmware. Huh, I've heard that name thrown around, but not really sure what it is.
It's basically a more advanced type of firmware that gives you a ton more control over your printer.
More control. Okay, in what way?
Well, it allows for much faster print speeds without sacrificing quality.
Really? That sounds almost too good to be true.
It's because Klipper is actually running on a separate computer, like a Raspberry Pi.
Ah, I see. So it's offloading some of that processing power, making the printer itself run more efficiently.
Exactly. And that's why the KE can handle those high speeds without getting bogged down.
Okay, so how much faster are we talking here? Give us some numbers.
Well, the KE can hit a maximum speed of 500 millimeters per second.
Whoa, that's fast.
But typically, you'd be printing more around 300 millimeters per second.
Still pretty zippy.
The SE, on the other hand, maxes out at 250 millimeters per second and usually runs around 180.
Okay, so definitely a noticeable difference in speed there.
Yeah, but even 180 millimeters per second is still a huge improvement over older Ender 3 models.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those were like snails in comparison.
Right. So it really comes down to how important speed is for you.
If you're printing like prototypes or just need things done quickly, the KE seems like the way to go.
Absolutely. And to achieve that speed, the KE also uses a linear rail on the x-axis.
Okay, and the SE doesn't have that, right?
Nope.
So what does that rail do? Is it just for speed?
It definitely contributes to the speed, but it also helps reduce vibrations and make the movement smoother overall.
Ah, I see. So it's about precision too, not just speed.
Exactly. And that translates to better print quality in the end.
Makes sense. Okay, so what about the displays on these two printers? Are they any different?
They are, yeah. The KE has a 4.3-inch touchscreen,
Nice.
while the SE has a 3.2-inch screen with a knob.
So both are upgrades from the older models.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The older ones just had that little LCD screen.
Ugh, yeah, those are a pain to navigate.
But the touchscreen on the KE is obviously more intuitive and user-friendly.
Yeah, touchscreens just make everything easier.
And speaking of easier, the KE also comes with built-in Wi-Fi connectivity.
Oh, now that's a feature I love on my printer.
It's so convenient, right?
Yeah, no more messing around with SD cards. You can just send files straight to the printer.
Exactly. And you can monitor and control your prints remotely, too.
Yep, so you can keep an eye on things from across the room or even across town.
It's a game changer for sure.
Okay, I'm sold on the Wi-Fi already.
And then we get to the hot end, where the KE boasts a higher temperature capability.
Okay, so how high are we talking?
The KE can reach a scorching 300 degrees Celsius.
Wow, that's hot.
Yeah, the SE tops out at 260.
So that extra heat opens up some possibilities for different filaments, I'm guessing.
Exactly. You can print with high-temperature materials like nylon on the KE.
Oh, cool. Nylon is super strong, right?
Yeah, it's really durable, so it's great for functional prints that need to withstand a lot of wear and tear.
Makes sense. All right, so the KE is sounding more and more appealing.
Well, hold on, there's even more.
Oh no, my wallet's already crying.
The KE also has a 60-watt heater compared to the SE's 40-watt, and it uses a volcano hot end design.
Volcano, interesting. What does that mean?
Basically, it's designed to heat up faster and more efficiently.
So it's not just about the higher temperature, but also how quickly it can get there.
Yep, and to prevent jams, especially with those high-temperature filaments, the KE has a bimetallic heat break.
Okay, I have no idea what that means.
Think of it like a thermal barrier that stops the heat from creeping up and causing clogs.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of like a safety net for your filament?
Exactly. It helps keep things flowing smoothly.
Well, that's definitely important.
All right, now let's move on to part cooling, which is another area where these printers differ.
Okay, so this is all about how the printed part cools down, right?
Exactly.
And why is that important?
Well, if the part cools too quickly or unevenly, you can get warping or other issues.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
So the KE has a dual fan system for part cooling.
2 fans, huh? And what about the SE?
The SE just has a single fan, which can sometimes lead to uneven cooling.
I see. So 2 fans would provide more consistent airflow around the part.
Yep, that's the idea, to make sure everything cools at the same rate.
And that helps prevent those warping issues you were talking about.
Exactly.
Okay, so dual fans are definitely a plus.
And then for the bed surfaces, we've got some interesting differences there too.
Lay it on me.
The KE comes standard with a PEI bed.
I've heard good things about PEI beds.
Yeah, they're known for being really smooth and easy to release prints from.
So like a non-stick surface for 3D printing?
Pretty much.
Nice.
The SE, on the other hand, has a PC spring steel bed.
Okay, and those are...
They could be a bit trickier to remove prints from sometimes.
Yeah, I've had some parts stick a little too well to those.
But both beds are magnetic and removable, so you can always swap them out if you want.
Right, so you're not necessarily stuck with the bed that comes with the printer.
Exactly.
All right, good to know. Okay, so hold on. We've covered a ton of stuff already, just in the similarities and differences.
Yeah, we have.
So before I move on, can we just do like a super quick recap of like the key things we've learned so far?
Definitely. So we've got these two printers, the SE and the KE. Both have a good build volume, direct drive extruders, and automatic bed leveling.
Yep, those are the big similarities.
But then the KE starts to pull ahead with its Klipper firmware, faster print speeds, linear rail on the x-axis.
And don't forget that fancy touch screen.
Oh yeah, and the Wi-Fi connectivity too.
Right, and then there's the higher temperature hot end, the dual fans for cooling, and that smooth PEI bed surface.
So it seems like the KE is packing a lot more features.
It really is.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right choice for everyone.
Of course not. It depends on your needs and your budget.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into those considerations now.
Perfect, because that's what we're going to be talking about next, so stay tuned. All right, so we've seen what these printers have in common and where they kind of diverge.
Right, yeah. And I gotta say, that KE is looking pretty tempting.
It really is, right?
Right.
All those extra features.
Like, that Klipper firmware alone is a game changer, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it definitely seems like it unlocks a whole new level of performance.
And that linear rail on the x-axis, gotta love that for smoother movements.
Definitely. It's all about precision and speed with the KE.
But, okay, let's be real for a sec. It's also a lot more expensive.
True. The SE is definitely more budget-friendly.
Yeah, so for someone who's just starting out, maybe the SE is a better place to start.
Yeah, I think so too. Gives you everything you need to get going without breaking the bank.
Exactly. And you can always upgrade later if you need more features.
Right. Like maybe once you've got the hang of things and you know what you really want in a printer.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not like you're choosing the wrong printer with the EAC. It's just a different starting point.
Exactly. And it's still a huge step up from those older Ender 3 models.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're not talking about those old clunky things anymore.
So you're still getting a lot of value with the SE.
Okay, good to know. So if you're on a tighter budget or you're just starting out, the SE seems like a solid choice.
Definitely. But if you're looking for those high-end features and you're willing to spend a bit more, then the KE starts to become really appealing.
Okay, so like who do you think the KE is perfect for then?
Well, I think it's great for anyone who needs to print things quickly.
Like professionals or businesses, maybe?
Yeah, or even hobbyists who are just impatient like me.
Hey, I hear ya. Time is precious.
And it's also ideal for anyone who wants to work with those high-temperature filaments like nylon.
Right, that opens up a lot of possibilities for functional prints.
Yeah, you can make things that are super strong and durable.
Cool. And what about that Wi-Fi connectivity? I'm assuming that's a big plus for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, it's a game changer for sure.
Being able to monitor your prints from anywhere is super convenient.
And you can start prints remotely too, so you don't have to be tethered to your computer.
Okay, so the KE is sounding more and more like a set it and forget it kind of printer.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
And then we've got that smooth PEI bed surface on the KE.
Which is a huge plus.
Yeah, no more struggling to get your prints off the bed.
They just pop right off. The PC spring steel bed on the SE can be a bit more challenging.
Yeah, I've definitely had some battles with those in the past.
So if you're someone who values ease of use and a smooth finish,
Yeah.
the KE's PEI bed is definitely a big selling point.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the specific features, but what about like the bigger picture? Like how do you see these printers fitting into someone's 3D printing journey?
That's a great question. I think it really comes down to your long-term goals.
Okay, so like what are you hoping to achieve with 3D printing?
Exactly. Are you content with printing smaller, simpler objects, or are you looking to create more complex and ambitious things?
Right, because the KE definitely seems like it has more room for growth. Like you can really push the boundaries with it.
Yeah, it's more future-proof in that sense.
But for someone who's just starting out, maybe they don't need all that right away.
Right. The SE is a great way to learn the basics and see if 3D printing is something you really want to invest in.
And then if you decide you want to level up, you can always get a more advanced printer down the road.
Exactly. It's like anything else. You don't need to buy the most expensive tool right away.
Start with what you need and grow from there.
Okay, so it's not just about features and specs.
Right.
It's about understanding your own goals and how you see yourself using the printer.
And maybe even like what kind of creative journey you're hoping to embark on.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, the best printer is the one that inspires you to create.
Exactly. The one that gets you excited to experiment and try new things.
And that brings us back to that question we posed earlier.
About designing the perfect 3D printer.
Yeah, what features would be at the top of your list?
Because that can really help you narrow down your choices.
Right. It forces you to think about what's truly important to you.
So don't get caught up in the hype or the latest trends. Just focus on what will help you achieve your goals.
Okay, I'm ready to hear what Creality Experts has to say, are you?
Absolutely. Let's see if their final verdict aligns with our analysis. So, drumroll please. What's the verdict from Creality Experts?
Well, they actually recommend the KE for most users.
Interesting.
Yeah, they say it offers the best balance of features, performance, and value.
That makes sense. It really does seem like the KE is a step above in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like they specifically highlight the faster printing speeds.
Right, and that Klipper firmware that gives you so much more control.
And they also mention the Wi-Fi connectivity, the high temperature hotend, the dual fans for cooling, and that nice PEI bed surface.
Yeah, those are all pretty big selling points.
They do say that the SE is still a good option for budget-conscious users.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, if you're not too concerned about speed or you don't need those advanced features, the SE can definitely get the job done.
Right, and it's still a very capable printer, especially compared to older models.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it really comes down to your individual needs and priorities, like we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. You got to figure out what's most important to you and then choose the printer that best fits those needs.
All right, so let's recap real quick. We've got the SE, which is a solid, budget-friendly option, great for beginners or anyone who doesn't need all the bells and whistles.
Right.
And then we've got the KE, which is more advanced, faster, and packed with features.
Yeah.
But it also comes with a higher price tag.
So two great printers, each with its own strengths.
Exactly. And the best choice for you really depends on your individual circumstances and goals.
Okay, so To wrap things up, I think it's safe to say that both the Ender 3v3 SE and the KE are great options for anyone looking to get into 3D printing or upgrade their existing setup.
Definitely. Creality has really stepped up their game with these models.
Yeah, they're both packed with features that would have been considered high-end just a few years ago.
And they're both surprisingly affordable.
Right, like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with either of these printers.
So if you're on the fence about which one to choose,
Yeah.
I would say go back to that question we talked about earlier, the one about designing your perfect 3D printer.
Think about what features would really make a difference in your printing experience.
And then choose the printer that aligns most closely with that vision.
Because at the end of the day, it's about finding the tool that inspires you to create.
Exactly. And both the SE and the KE have the potential to do just that.
So go out there, get yourself a 3D printer, and start making awesome things.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Ender 3v3 SE and KE.
And happy printing, everyone!